everybody. We're going to make some bean soup without soaking the beans. This is, it'll save you the trouble of putting the beans in the water and sticking them in the fridge overnight and all that crap. So here you go. We got 1 pound of beans, and I'm going to boil them in the deep fryer. And once they boil, I'm going to put them in a pan and put them on the stove. But you have to see this pan. Hold on. It's coming up. I'll show you in a minute. Now look, I know a lot of people know how to make bean soup. I know that. It's no big secret. But for those who don't want to soak the beans or who never made it, this is how you do it. I've got 1 pound of beans and 1 large onion. Now, this is what you're going to need. Chicken base or ham base. Black pepper, red pepper, what's that? Kitchen bouquet, that's for the color. Thyme, bay leaves off the tree outside, and a little bit of liquid smoke. I don't have a ham bone, so I'm using liquid smoke. You're also going to need a carrot and some parsley. This is like the last of the bunch of parsley that I'm trying to use up here. Okay, so there you go. There's water added to the beans, and we're going to plug that in and let it boil. Once it boils, I'm going to transfer it into another pot. Uh-oh, make some room there. Damn it. Okay, so here you go. Here's some black pepper. Okay, let me see. There goes black pepper. And you know what? I had fresh garlic to add to it, and I forgot it. So I end up adding some garlic, granulated garlic at the end. All right, there goes some red pepper. Now look, you don't want to put too much that it makes it hot. You just want a little bit for some backup flavor. All right, there goes thyme. A little bit more thyme. There you go. All right. And bay leaves are coming up. They're off the tree outside. What I did was I picked them and then I put them in the food dehydrator to dry them. And man, it really works. It's perfect. If you're growing spice at home, that's the best way to store it, is to put it in a whatchamacallit, food dehydrator. Okay, now here's some liquid smoke. I didn't have a ham bone, so I used just a couple drops of liquid smoke. If you have ham base, ham bouillon, then you really don't need the liquid smoke. But I didn't have ham. I can't find ham bouillon. I guess you got to get it online somewhere. There goes a little bit of kitchen bouquet. That's only for color. Instead of, having it all white, I like to darken it a little bit. Okay, that's it. So in there you got onions, bay leaves, thyme, kitchen bouquet, a little bit of liquid smoke. What else? I think that's it. Now would be the time you put in crushed garlic. But again, I forgot it. I'm getting old, man. I spaced out. You know how it is. Back in the day, yeah, just a stoner. Back in the day, I would have had it. All right, now look. Someone asked me to show them my kitchen. Well, this is it, man. I mean, this thing is tiny. I think it was built back in like 1750, and they've made some, they've made some improvements since then. Here, let me open the door so we can get some light in here. There's rye bread on the stove there. That's the sponge. I'm going to make the bread a little bit later. All right, there you go. There's the fridge, a toaster oven, a regular toaster, a microwave. Here's all the utensils. There's some spice right there. Here comes the pastry bag. I don't know why I don't know why I zoomed in on this, but I did, and I didn't want to cut it out. There's a comb. Did you see that aluminum comb? That's for making cakes, to comb the sides of the cake. It makes it look really good. All right, there you go. There's a bunch of knives. My #1 KitchenAid right there. Oh, a baby. And that's the kitchen. I mean, you know, it's really small. Yeah, there's a cup of coffee. There's, like I said, a microwave, toaster oven, and regular toaster. The oven, blah, blah, blah. A couple more utensils over there. Let's zoom in on those spatulas. Okay, so what else? There's the lights that I use when I make a video. You know, you got to have extra light. Okay, that's it. You know, that's all that's to it. It's a really tiny kitchen. It reminds me of working on a cruise ship, you know, where everything is like really small. Okay, so here we go now. I'm not sure what I'm doing here, but I'm doing something. Okay, the beans are down there in the bottom right. Oh, all right, here, look. Look at this pot. This is a stainless steel pot, but it's paper thin. There is no way you could cook these beans on the stove without them burning in this pot. Any kind of liquid that has any density will burn in this pot. But wait a minute. I'm going to show you a little trick here. Here's what you do. You take tin cans, all right? These are regular tin cans. I think crushed tomatoes or something came in that can. I'm not sure what it was. But here's what you do. You take a tin can, peel off the label, all right, and cut out the bottom. You need a can that you can open the top and the bottom. All right, so here I am cutting this thing out. Come on, let's go. Move it. La, 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 dee, 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 dee. All right, there you go. Okay, now once you have the top and the bottom open and the can is clean, crush it down like this. Okay, smash it down. If you have to, step on it. You know, if you can't squeeze it with your hands, just step on it. All right, then what you want to do is you want to take it outside and pound it with a hammer.
Beat it.
But believe me, this is, it's all worth it, believe me. Yeah, you could beat it.
Beat it.
Yep. Okay, now there's glue on it. So you want to put it on the stove to burn the glue off. It's going to smoke for a little while. All right, there you go. I pounded them down. No, not yet. I'm taking them outside to pound them down with a hammer. You want to do it on the concrete. You know, don't do it on your tile floor or on your counter. Okay, there. Now they're flattened down as flat as they're going to get. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them on the stove and let that glue burn off. Just put it right on the burner. If it's an electric stove, put it on, you know, the electric burner. If it's a gas stove, same thing. Just put it on and let the glue burn off. It's going to smoke for a little while, and it's going to smell bad, but just go ahead and get it over with. Burn the glue off, okay? Now, that's what you do, is you take this pot that, like I said, the only thing this pot is good for is boiling water because, you know, of course, the water won't burn. You could cook broccoli or something in it, you know, and it won't burn. But if you put any kind of liquid that has a thick, you know, has a density to it, it's going to burn in that pot. Okay, so there you go. You put down the two protectors that I just made, one on top, put the pot on top of it. Okay, now what's going to happen is if you just leave it like that, you're going to have a lot of wasted heat coming up the sides. So what I do is, since I try to save on electricity because I'm cheap and I don't want to pay the damn electric company,
Yeah.
I put aluminum foil. Oh, wait a minute. There, the beans boiled. So now they go into this pot. It's best to start them, you know, on the, like in that deep fryer. I start them in there until they get hot, and then when you do this, it speeds it up quite a bit. All right, so I'm going to wrap the pot in aluminum foil. All right, all this is doing is it's preventing any heat from going up the sides of the pot and ending up, you know, in the air, you know. So in other words, I'm getting the maximum heat out of the electric stove by not wasting any going up the sides of the pot. Okay. So now there we got the spices, the onions, the beans. Oh, I'm adding a little bit more water. This is going to make about 1.5 gallons of soup. with only 1 pound of beans. I'll show you why later, what's going on here. Okay, so I'm going to put that on, and I think I put a top on it here in a minute. Somewhere along here. And there you go. All right, there's a just a plate. Oh, here's that rye bread that was on the stove. The sponge, you saw the sponge on there a minute ago. All right, here's a pan. Put a little cornmeal on. This really wasn't going to be a rye bread video. I already have one of those. But I was making rye bread, and I figured, hey, we got a minute or so. Why don't I just show this part, which I'm doing now. All right, there you go. Punch it down. Man, this rye bread is the best. I'm telling you. If you ever want to make rye bread, go watch that video. What you need is you need a sponge, which you start the day before. And the sponge is 12 ounces of beer, 2 packs of yeast, and 2 cups of rye flour. You might have to buy the rye flour online because I couldn't find it in any store at all around here. Oh yeah, and oh yeah, that's the sponge. The yeast, the beer, and the rye flour. Then the next day you add a little bit of sugar. You add some oil, 1 egg, and whatever else it is. I don't know. I can't remember. Okay, now here's the carrot that I'm going to put in at the end. You don't want to put it in now because it'll just disintegrate. Okay, so I'm going to chop these up real small little cubes. Okay, choppy. All right, choppy. Choppy. Okay, look at that, choppy. All right, now wait a minute. In case you needed that carrot for something, hold on. Let me show you. Hold on. Wait. Choppy.
We gotta choppy first.
Choppy. Okay. Now, in case you needed that carrot, you could also unchoppy. All right, here you go. You unchoppy. You put that carrot back in the fridge, and everything is cool. You know what I mean? Then no one will know you took that carrot out and chopped it. Choppy. All right. So yeah, we're just goofing around there. Okay, so choppy. All right, here we go. Come on.
Put it back together.
No, wait a minute. Oh yeah, there it goes. It's almost whole. There you go, man. It's the miracle of television. Look at that. It's whole. Okay, now forget that. Okay, so here goes some chunks of ham and bacon. Okay, we're going to add that to the soup. Hey, listen, these beans were not soaked, so they sat on that, in that pot on the stove. They boiled for about 2.5 hours. Now you can see it's thick. The reason why it's thick, or a little thick, is because I added roux. Everybody knows what roux is, don't you? If you don't, you have to look up roux. It's spelled R-O-U-X, and it is a staple of the kitchen. You have to have roux. Roux is made with butter and flour, but you could use half butter, half margarine. You know, that's what I do. I use half and half, and flour. And then what I do is I throw it in the oven and just bake it for, I don't know, an hour and a half. And it's done, all right? Now, the thing is, you can't add hot roux to a hot liquid. If you do, you'll end up with nothing but lumps. You have to have a cold roux to a hot liquid or a cold liquid to a hot roux. Either way, it has to be hot and cold. They both can't be the same temperature. The roux will not break down. It'll just end up in big lumps. So anyway, look up roux, R-O-U-X. You gotta have it. What I do is I used a pound of butter and a half pound of margarine, and then I added the flour to it. Now I have enough roux for, who knows? I mean, you know, it'll thicken a lot of stuff with that amount. And then what I do is I freeze it. And when you need it, just take it out and chop it up. But what I did here was I put it in the refrigerator, let it cool, and then I put it through the grinder on the KitchenAid. instead of chopping it, I just ground it and put it back in the freezer, you know. So now when I need it, it's there. I just take it out and use it. It absolutely is a staple of the kitchen. You gotta have it. There's no doubt about it. I'd be lost without roux. Oh, roux. There goes some roux right there. See that? Now, that's been ground. So, you know, it's not chopped, it's ground. But you could chop it. I mean, it's you choppy choppy. It's all the same. All right. So, we're thickening this sauce. I mean, the soup. The soup is boiling like crazy in that paper-thin pot. I'm going to show you at the end. I'm going to show you the bottom of the pot. And you will see that there is not one speck of burn on it. And like I said, man, it cooked from 10 after 2 till about 5 o'clock. Okay, yeah, here's the rye bread coming out of the oven. Oh, man, I got to tell you, this stuff is top of the line, man. It really is. But this video isn't about the rye bread. It's about the soup, the non-soaked soup. Like I said, a lot of people know how to make bean soup, but this is just one that you don't soak, and I wanted to show you those little tricks for the stove so you don't burn anything. All right. There it is. There it is. It's done. Okay. Oh, man, look at how nice and thick it is. And that was only 1 pound of beans. And it made 1.5 gallons of soup. That's pretty good for 1 pound of beans. All right, hold on. Those handles are hot. I want to pick it up and show you the bottom of the pan. It's it's amazing. Now, like I said, man, it was on the stove for almost 3 hours. Almost. Okay, I'm dumping it into another pan is what I'm doing. And there it is. Look at that. There's not one speck of burn on that pan. And like I said, the only good thing about that pot is to boil water. You know, you make pasta or, you know, corn on the cob or something. But now I can use it for anything as long as I have my handy dandy cans. Yeah, handy dandy cans. That's right. Smashed cans. Don't forget, you heard it here first. Okay. All right, let's see. I don't know what else I'm doing here. Hold on. Nothing. Oh, I added some granulated garlic at the end because I forgot the garlic in the beginning. So I added it there.
That's pretty.
Look at that, man. There's not a speck of burn on that pan. It's amazing. That pan, believe me, it's like paper thin, man. It's really a very thin pan. Okay, what am I doing here now? I can't remember. Doesn't look like I'm doing much. Yeah, walking around. Oh, there you go. I'm gonna cut some bread. Oh man, this rye bread is killer. It's made with 12 ounces of beer, 2 cups of rye flour, and 2 packs of yeast. And then the next day, you leave that on the counter. And the next day, you add regular bread flour, 1 egg, some oil, and caraway seeds, and that's it. And you're good to go. I mean, man, there's nothing better than this right out of the oven. Holy moly. If you want, I'll put the link to the rye bread recipe. Okay, so look, you can find this around town, but you ain't going to find it any better than this. I got to go. I got to eat.